Hello and welcome to Comfort Legacies. Today we have our beautiful guest, Miss Lakeisha, and I am going to turn it over to her and let her tell us a little bit about herself and tell us where you're streaming from.
Yes, I am Lakeisha Mosley, and I am streaming from Maryland. I'm in the Maryland part of the state of amazing. It's Southern Maryland, actually. So most people in Maryland don't know where that is, but honestly, it's actually on the tip right by the Capitol building. So yeah,
Okay.
it's a great place. But I'm down here. I'm able to be innovative. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a publisher, and a published author, and I'm able to connect those dots, on my podcast. So I'm a
Okay.
podcaster and I'm streaming, I'm talking about my story, through trauma, so definitely that's what I'm doing moving forward.
Okay. A little bit about your book. Free yourself.
Wow. Okay. So I wrote Free Yourself a few years ago, pretty much when it was time for me to really break loose. It was technically talking about mental illness, the illness that I plagued for a long time. Most people are not genuine when it comes to that. But you know what? When I became free of it, I began to tell that story. I began to tell where my family, we grew up in Michigan. Most of our Michiganders, we understand that, but at the same time, it was plaguing growing up there. It was very, a lot going on with my family. It was tragic, and my family really was not able to really thrive, within our community. So it wasn't until I got older when I was able to tell my story and just shared my story of life in abundance. My kids are able to thrive here, and they're able to have a great life. They're able to smile, to be friendly,
Wow.
to be free, and to be able to be abundant. So it's pretty much what that's about.
Wow. Okay. So, what were the conditions that were so different from being in Michigan than any other place? I understand that, you're saying that perhaps it was underserved community, but was that mostly what you're referring to?
So mainly what I'm referring to is more so of the poverty mindset. My family grew up where they were able to thrive in their resources. They were able to, thrive in understanding that from that standpoint. At the same time, poverty and the mindset was plaguing them. There was a lot of abuse going on, psychological abuse, where things began to look normal. You know, when I talk about that, there's like, what do you mean, Keisha? What do you mean number? What more normal? Honestly, it was normal to be able to yell at kids. It was normal to be able to beat your kids. It was normal to be able to think that was okay. It was a lot of abuse going on when it comes to sexuality. It was really, really trying situation where, we weren't able to be let out to understand that. It wasn't okay to be able to talk about that. So it wasn't
Right.
until got older.
Oh, gotcha. So, do you think that that was because of just the environment itself? People, like, I think of a time when um, baby boomers were coming up and growing up. The rearing of children were totally different, even as it is today. And that might have something to do with the mindset that you're speaking of. But, I didn't really tie it in with maybe the demographics. Or it's like you said, everyone did. Like, the concept, it takes a village to raise a child, where if everyone's thinking is along the same lines, hey boy, get over here, let me don't ever tell your mama, so if everyone's thinking along the same lines, that it's okay to be verbal abusive or physically abusive, or even in a lot of cases, sexually abusive to others, then it placates placates on the environment itself. So I think that's what I'm getting from you.
Yes, absolutely. That's what you're getting. Honestly, it was easy to be able to molest a child,
Yeah.
and that was easy because that was normal,
Because of the
but
don't tell.
exactly. Don't tell what's going on in our house.
Yes.
What's going on in our house is our business. So
Right.
you're shunned as a kid. You're scared because you live there. You're not
Yes.
going to tell. So for me, I was not going to even tell. As an adult, I wasn't going to tell. It's like, I can't tell about this. I can
Yes.
tell about what's going on with my family. And it's not so much as my immediate family, it's so much as my community. My aunts and uncles, they weren't telling, but
Yeah.
they didn't know that that was a problem. They didn't
Right.
know. They didn't know.
So now you said transitioning, moving on. You made the move to leave Michigan, or um, jobs, career, education. What drove that move?
Well, what drove that move? Definitely, I was able to get out when I joined the military.
Oh,
Honestly, the military was my highway to get out, mainly to do something new. I didn't know. I said, listen, I need to go to college. My family, they were amazing. They were able to send me a great um, high school, a great middle school, high school. They were able to give me the education, but they weren't able to go even farther. They told me, they said, listen, we're gonna help you get through FAFSA, but we're not going to pay for your college education. We can't. We're not able to do that. So you're going to have to fend for yourself. So I said, okay. Well, I need a plan. So that's where the recruiter came in. I was able to definitely lean on the recruiter in the area. So it was the Army. And that's what I was able to lean on and be guided that way. The military began to show me a life that I was amazingly able to be abundant in. I was able to meet new people, meet others. They were just like me. They were just in another area, but they were just like me. They were able to help me in the area, and I was able to evolve from there.
okay, awesome. I'm glad you brought that point up. They were just like you, but they were from different areas. And that's what I was trying to get at when you were saying perhaps Detroit or Michigan, I'm sorry, Michigan versus Maryland. So it could have been another person from Maryland, experiencing or having experienced the same thing, but was just in Maryland. So I would just kind of wanted to know what made Maryland so much better.
Yeah, honestly, what made it better was just the environment. You were able to do some things different. You were able to meet people. You were able to collab with people, have definitely new way of thinking with people.
Mhm.
Honestly, if it wasn't for the military, I wouldn't have learned anything else. I wouldn't have been able to be comfortable with other people. Just to be around that environment made me more comfortable with life.
Ah, awesome. It's a military factor also. I can relate to that. My husband, same environment, grew up in Oakland, California, and he testifies, that's his testimony, that he said that he was leaving Oakland and his escape, as he called it, was through the military. And he went into the Navy, changed his life, got to see something different other than, them sitting on the wall outside of the project um, construction, and lived in Hawaii for about 8 years all through the military, and just experienced a whole new way of living. So it was very impactful, never wanting to go back. And of course, a lot of family members stayed right there for many, 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 many years. Uh, and I would say are still there, kind of, in those areas. And yeah, so I get that being around new people and whatnot. So when did you publish your book?
Wow, I published my book, I want to say in 2018. That's when I
Okay.
began to publish that because that's when I really became free to begin to talk to the world about it. Say this is a story that others need to hear. They need to hear how they can thrive, how they can move forward ahead, and the resources. They need to know they're by themselves. And they can also tag in some of the resources that did plague them. You can take the mental illness, you can take the struggles, you can take those things and still show others that listen, you're human, you can do anything, you can be anything, as long as you
Mhm.
take, understand what you're going through moving forward, for sure.
Okay. Okay. So what you're speaking of is resilience. You can be
Yes,
resilient.
absolutely. You can be
And
resilient, you can thrive, for sure.
okay, so don't let your situations, your temporary situations, be a long term situation. You can pull yourself out of it and thrive while doing so.
Yes, you absolutely can. You can thrive, but you have to understand in your thriving, everybody is not going to understand you. Everybody is not going to chime in with you. Honestly, your family, I love how you mentioned that, honestly, your family is not going to come with you and they're not going to understand you. They're probably going to be mad at you that you left. You got
Yep,
out. You're thriving. What are you
you
doing?
got
You're
out.
doing something different. So it's like, what are you doing that I can't do? But honestly, I believe everyone can do anything, but you do have to step forward and just move forward and to your purpose, moving ahead.
So, do you think that, well, let me rephrase that. What makes the best books?
Wow, that is a great question. What makes the best books is honestly when you're being transparent with your stories and just telling about your story. You do have to just do it. You have to do it. It's not your fault that whatever happened, but at the same time, you have to shed light and show others, listen, you're not by yourself. You're not by yourself. A lot of us have been abused, a lot of us have been misused, a lot of us have tragic stories, a lot of us have trauma, but you have to share that story. No one was going to know if you don't share it.
Okay. So, I guess my follow up before would have been, do you think that you have to have had an emotional experience to write a book or want to write, have the desire to write a book?
Wow, that's another great question. Honestly, I want to say you have to have a story wherever it is. It may be,
Mm,
something that comes into play, like it may be a blog, it may be some type of
yeah.
therapy in your at a podcast. Like, we're innovative nowadays, so everyone's able to do something. So you may be able to do a newsletter. You can do something shed light. You may have a community where you're just talking to people. It may be a focus group. It may start off there, and it may be put in a transcript where you're able to write about it. You're able to connect there too, connect those dots.
So, what I'm hearing you say is that you need to get it out.
Yes, you got to get it out. However you're able to get it out. If you're able to write about it, able to talk about it through your music, you're able to get it out somewhere. You have to
Uh,
get it out for sure.
okay, so, and that ties into your mental health awareness, whereas if you're going through something, you need a an avenue of expression, and perhaps
Yes.
that's through a book, through a podcast, through television show, however you can get it out, sharing, getting around like-minded people, and whatever it takes to help you through a situation, through your
Yes.
traumas. Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. All right. So this was your first book, And are you planning on doing another?
Yes, definitely. I'm in the works of definitely doing a revamp. I have a lot of collaborations that I've been doing. It's so funny. It's I've been to anthologies, and
Yes.
where it's pretty cool. But personally, I'm going to be doing another revision of my book, and pretty much it's just going to be a more deep, in-depth organization of that book. So definitely look out for that. It's going to be um, another part of Free Yourself,
For
because
you.
it's more story. It's more to the story.
Oh yeah, there always is, right? You can't get it all in one book.
No, no, you can't get it all in one book. You
Oh,
when you open up, you know what I'm feeling. You know what I'm talking about. You're able to open up
yeah.
more and talk about another area of your life. You know,
So there's layers.
yes, there's layers. Um, it's an opening. It's an opening up. When you about one part of it, you're able to talk about more. People are able to resonate with more. They're able to be free of of whatever they're going through. It could be, just binding, within them, and they're not able to let it go. A lot of times you're able to let it go just by you starting letting things
Yes.
go.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think that to your point with mental illness being involved and starting somewhere, I think that that is a concern for people that want to get started on writing a book, perhaps, or sharing, is how much to share and where to begin. So, what would be some of your advice to someone who is maybe in that position of not knowing how to get started or where to get started?
Yeah, my advice would be just to talk about it. A lot of times, most
Mm,
people will talk about it um, with like I said, a blog or just a paper, pen and paper, and just write about it. A lot of times, we're talking about forgiveness. So there's a lot of
mm,
forgiveness that's going on in Free Yourself. I had to forgive, just my family, just my how I grew up. I had to forgive, just the abusers. I had to forgive just the people that just didn't know, or maybe they did know.
yeah,
I had to leave that up to, our creator to, that to give it to him and just move forward. Couldn't bind myself anymore, because when you bind yourself in unforgiveness, it
yeah,
really binds you, not them. Because a lot of them are moving on. They're moving and shaking, and they're having a good old time. But you're bind up, with the struggle, and it's like it's really not your um, play to make it happen. You got to let it go, release it, forgive, and move forward.
wow. And that's a tall order for some, but it's the most freeing. And
Yes.
well, to your title, free yourself. We can come back to that. That's right.
Exactly.
So the freeing is in the forgiving, and at least a portion of it. And the other is in just being transparent and being able to share, just get it out. So free yourself, deliver yourself, and free others, I guess, unlock your mind.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a
Now,
movement.
it's a movement, huh? Ooh,
It is a
that's
movement.
that is so true, so powerful. It is, we that's a common term these days. Everything is a movement, but it is really a movement. It really is. So not, but you also said that you help others publish. You publish.
Well, I'm not actually the publisher, so I connect
Mhm.
those dots with others, but I know for sure that, I'm supposed to be doing that too. So definitely that's going to definitely be a part of my business. So pretty much I'm connecting those dots to other publishers that I know that are great at what they do, and they could share them and help them write their stories.
What do you do with your podcast? What do you talk about on your podcast?
Wow. So on my podcast, I'm able to talk about, just real life, just able to talk about, um, church hurt, able to talk about
Mhm.
the effects of mental illness. A lot of times we don't talk about things that are plaguing us. So I talk about, those stories. I began to talk about other pastors, other ministers, other people that have been hurt with, the church. Most people are not coming back. That's just real talk. And most people are not coming back. So I'm able to talk about not just the church, I'm able to talk about other businesses, able to talk to other entrepreneurs, other people that are making the way in the world today, musicians, able to talk to other musicians, able to talk to, their gift of, artistry, able to talk to others that are, really blowing it up, with their art, this new wave of, art is different. I've never done it. It's like NFTs. You're able to talk to artists with NFTs. It's like, that's new. You would talk to people that are evolving when it comes to food. I'm a foodie at heart, so they're able to speak through their creative arts when it comes to that. So I'm able to talk to people in that, and able to talk to people in finance, able to talk to
Mm.
people in definitely understanding the way we do finances today. So I'm so
Yeah.
thankful for that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So your platform just covers it all. Mental
Yes.
health in the creative space, however you're creative, or whatever your gifts may be, whatever your strengths and weaknesses are. Just covering it all. Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Now, did you self-publish your book?
I self-published Free Yourself, which is so amazing. I was with a lot of help with people that were able to actually make sure that the manuscript was going to be great. So you had another eye on it, and definitely it was great. I'm so happy about that. So I was able to really get deep into who I'm talking to.
Oh, okay. So who you're talking to, who your
Hmm.
audience is. Okay. I think
Yes.
that is sometimes a stopper, or it could be a, lead you to a pause when oftentimes you want to tell your story, but you haven't figured out who your audience is. Or like Les Brown says, why should I care? And until you figure out why someone should care about your story, perhaps that's something. I think he has three. Let me just go back. Um, who am I? Um, what is my purpose? And why should anyone care? Or why should you, as the audience, care? So, of course, you want to talk about who you are, but um, why should anyone care? I think is the most important thing, and I think a lot of beginners may struggle with that because, or not even know about it, not even be aware of it, because they just think that I just want to tell my story. But when you know who your audience is, then you know how to help them. So I think that is a key point.
I love how you said that, you're talking about your why. That is huge because you have to know, what is your why? Why do
Mm-hmm.
you do why do you want to write? What what
Yeah.
what is so special about you?
You.
And when you get
Ex-
deep down in that, and when you get deep and understanding that, that's when you're able to really get to the root of why you're going to keep going. Why should you be anything? Why should be you be that special? And
yes.
that's what I had to do for me.
Okay. What makes you
Yeah.
uniquely different? And you found your why.
Yes.
You found that.
Oh yeah. Yes.
You said, oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Now, last thing is maybe I always say last thing. But I'm like a preacher. It might have two last things. But how did it feel when you got that book in your hand?
Oh wow. When I got Free Yourself in my hands, it felt so liberating. It was just felt so good. I'm just looking at it right now. I'm just, so happy, when I was smiling because I was literally able to take this pen to paper and that should show the world. So, it was really, really, you know, really a liberating experience. It was almost like I was breathing for the first time.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's the first time I heard that one. Breathing for the first time. I've heard magical. It was like, birthing, but breathing for the first time is a good one. I'm going to have to use that one. So can you hold it up? Can you hold up the book?
Oh, yes, I can. Can you
Just
see it?
hold it there. Yeah, just in the middle. Just hold it
Oh,
there for a little while. There you go. And up maybe the title so I can see the title a little bit. There you go. Free yourself. Great, great, great. So we can see it. Okay, that is awesome. That's a great book. I love it. Love the cover, and that's you on the cover off Lassie.
yes, absolutely.
Oh, looking glamorous. Oh, wow. And did you self-publish? I mean, you self-publish. Um,
Yes,
so, and then you just work with the team, or
yes,
maybe an editor or something like that. And so, was that your first experience? Because you did that in 2018, and a lot of people are just coming
Ye-
on during the
yes,
pandemic. So, deciding to write
yes.
that book, and you got it through. How did you find that process?
Wow. So the process was something, definitely going to the editor, and definitely, waiting to make sure that it was exactly what I was wanted and what I wanted to lay out for everybody, So that process was really cool because I was able to get the words out the way I wanted to get it out. So going through that was pretty cool and understanding just how important it was to get the words right and what I was looking for and what I wanted to get out for the paper.
So, did you write it yourself first and then submit it to an editor, or did you work alongside an editor?
Yeah, so I did write it first to myself and then I sent it to the editor and then she was able to take it, each chapter and she was able to get out exactly what I wanted. That was important for me. Each chapter, I needed to make sure that chapters meant well and what I meant to get out for everyone in the public.
Kind of like a developmental or content construction
Yes.
editor, because there's so many different kinds of
Yes.
editors. Yes. Oh, okay. And that was that. I think that's the most interesting part of the editing aspect is when your editor can go deep with you and kind of pull out what your true essence or meaning is, making sure that message comes through well. I like that. So choosing an editor is really important. And sometimes you have to have
Yes.
more than one. So,
Yes, that is important because sometimes the first editor doesn't resonate with you. It's not really, coming out the way that you want it. So definitely
yes,
you need someone that speaks to your vision. Yes.
yes,
Got to speak
absolutely.
to the vision.
All right. Okay. Well, Miss Lakeisha, that has been very informative and helpful. I'm sure that our listeners will gather and can appreciate the advice that you have given. Are there any other last words that you would like to give to anyone that is aspiring to be an author or facing challenges?
Definitely. One thing I would say to just go ahead and do it. I know how sometimes when you write a book, it can mean so much. You would think it means so much, but honestly,
Mm,
just you going out and just making it happen and just, putting it down in the paper. If you have a team, that does work out, but at the same time, it may just be you. I don't want you to think that you need somebody to validate the dreams and the visions that you have
Mhm.
in your mind. Honestly, if you just step out and connect those dots, everything will come together for you, for sure. So don't hold back. I promise you, this girl right here held back for a long time, but you don't want to hold back, the creation that's within you. You can do it. Just go ahead and step out to it.
Step out, do it. Just do it.
Yes, just
Whoever
do
came
it.
up with that. Yes. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here today. I have enjoyed our conversation, and I definitely can't wait for you to come back and do send me a book. Can I have a book, please? Signed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be a signed copy. It's my
Thank you
pleasure.
so much. I love reading my author's books, and yes, I just it's just been a new platform and oh man, just an awakening just by going through other people's experiences and and sharing and helping to get the word out, whatever their message is. So I really appreciate that. So thank you so much for taking the time to spend with me today.
Thank you for allowing me to come in. I really appreciate this opportunity. It really is just liberating for myself. So I'm honored. Thank you so much. I can't wait to come back. Thank you,
Oh,
Faye.
thank you.